Good morning and welcome to this is episode 3, isn't it?
This is episode 3 of The Old and the Restless.
The Old and the Restless. And
he's old and I'm restless.
Where we talk about seniors, but also more specifically in Loudoun County. And some of the people seeing this will be all over the world, but primarily we are in a community called Lansdowne Woods, an over 55 active adult community.
That is correct.
But the audience, judging by the YouTube statistics, is going viral. So,
woohoo!
Okay. So last week, primarily because of me, and you gave me some flack on this, primarily because of me.
I did?
Well, a little. That's why we have this. We're talking about data centers and development of this and development of that. Because in Loudoun County, I mean, the main urban area is Leesburg. And to the east of Leesburg is where we have all the urban development.
Well, you would think. However, we've explored western Loudoun County as well.
Yeah.
And what have we found?
Well, so one of the things we found, and you pointed this out last week, that I'm kind of like a coffee guy, but you like different types of wine and vineyards and wineries and...
I do. They're exciting.
So is plural charcuterie? Charcuterie?
Charcuterie.
Charcuterie, okay. And so in any case, we thought that...
It pairs well with wine.
Yeah. But in terms of knowledge, you have knowledge of wine, I have knowledge of Starbucks.
And you called me a wine connoisseur, and I didn't think of myself as a wine connoisseur.
Yeah.
But if you look up the definition, I don't know, maybe I am.
Well,
I do know the taste that I like.
yes.
And I can pick up on various of those tastes, like the oak flavor when it's aged in oak barrels, some of the berries, particularly cherries in wine. But I am not a sommelier.
Yeah.
There is a difference.
Yes, and we'll get into sommelier in a little bit. So anyway, why not get into that now? There are people who become very well educated and credentialed in wine, and they are called sommelier.
Yes.
And there are different organizations that accredit sommelier. And one of the things that they are skilled in are what they call blind tastings. So in the past week, in preparation for this video, it's almost fair to say that when it came to wineries, I was a winery virgin. So, and I mean, I had never been to a winery.
Let me tell you, it was so much fun taking a wine virgin around to wineries to taste different kinds of wine. That was an experience all in itself.
But I've learned a little bit. But I mean, so let's take big picture stuff before we kind of go micro. So big picture within Loudoun County, when you get west of Leesburg, agricultural is a big thing, and growing grapes, vineyards, and processing the grapes in wineries into finished product is a big deal. So question, how big a deal? There are over 2 million tourists in Loudoun County who go to vineyards and wineries. And within the Commonwealth of Virginia, there are just shy of 50,000 jobs that are attributed either directly or indirectly to vineyards and wineries. And the total amount of economic activity through the state is like $6.5 billion with a B. So, I mean, Virginia wine activity is economically significant, which is why the emphasis last week that I put on data centers was probably, well, this is why we need to do today. So you have some other interesting
Well, as
stats.
you can tell, we've talked about before, Andy is our resident nerd. He researches everything. So until last week, he really didn't know a whole lot about wineries
Right.
and the data behind them.
Right.
There are over 50 wineries in Loudoun County. There's 25 varieties of grapes grown on over 850 acres. 2,300 tons of grapes, producing 19% of grapes in Virginia. How's those for data?
And we saw a few of them.
We did.
Right.
We visited a few. You even tasted some.
Yeah. So, never having been to a winery or a vineyard, so there's one outside of Leesburg called Stone Tower,
Yes.
which, and by the way, if any of you are also what I'll call winery virgins, you need to go to a couple of these places because they are beautiful attractions in their own right.
That is true.
And Stone Tower, which is just outside of Leesburg, is a great place to start. But you also felt I should see Boxwood.
Boxwood, I love because I'm a wine club member of Boxwood. It's out in Middleburg. It's family owned by John Kent Cook, who is the son of Jack Kent Cook, and I'm sure you all are very familiar with that gentleman. But his family owns and runs Boxwood Wineries. What I like about their wine club membership is I can take 3 guests with me anytime that they're open, and I can have 4 free tastings, and each tasting is 4 different wines. And I actually took a picture of Andy with his 4 wines in front of him, and the comment he made was, as he tasted each one, and we partaked in a little bit of food to go with it,
Yes.
was, I could get used to this. Remember you making that comment?
Yes. And so the taste, and this was at Boxwood, so there are 4 mini glasses, not as large as this. And in this particular case, I had asked for 4 different red wines. And so they're in mini glasses in front of me. And what I had to do without any blindfolds, this was not a blind tasting because I was completely clueless. I was able to pick up each one, taste each one in succession, and then try to figure out
What's different?
the characteristics of each of those 4. And because you are a connoisseur, not a sommelier, but a connoisseur.
Very, very early on connoisseur.
Okay, an early on, but nonetheless. So I have these 4 glasses of red wine in front of me at Boxwood Winery, which is also a vineyard. They also
Yes.
grow grapes.
Yes.
And
And they bottle their own with their own bottling equipment. They do not rent mobile equipment.
which is another distinction of Boxwood. I mean, it's on the other side of Middleburg, and we would encourage you to visit Boxwood. But in any case, so I have these 4 glasses, and without making fun of me on a public video, is it fair to say I didn't know one from the other, even with my eyes open? But I think I've made progress during the course of this week with respect to developing a sophisticated wine palate.
And that's how you determine what is the differences with wines, is attending wine tastings. Because going into a grocery store, I was overwhelmed. I remember years ago thinking, what do I buy? I don't know what it tastes like. I don't know if it's good, bad, indifferent. I didn't know if I should go with cheap, more expensive. So I started going to wine tastings, and that's how you learn to know the difference. And they will talk about wine pairing, what it's good with, and I particularly love the drier side of wines, and I love it with cheese, and I even love it with grapes. And there's usually nuts on the charcuterie board. There's usually dried fruit of some sort. But you learn these things by going to wine tastings, and you learn what price category fits your budget. You learn, do you like white? Do you like red? Do you like dry? Do you like the sweeter ones? There's just a myriad of information that you gather from wine tastings. And not to forget that you meet a lot of nice people. I've made a lot of friends by going to the wineries. Some of them I still am friends with. They notify me when they're going to be there. We try to join up together. So it's a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun learning. Now, going out to Middleburg, was it Route 50? 50
Yes.
West.
Yes.
And as you go out Route 50 West, in the same way that going inbound in Loudoun County from Leesburg, we have Data Center Alley, could you call Route 50
Winery
Alley? Sort of. Because there's one right after another, and all of which have their own personality in terms of the countryside and how the interior architecture of the winery is, and the areas where you can simply sit and enjoy the view as you sip wine. And they're all different as you go out Route 50. And there are two, maybe three that I'm going to mention that stand out. And by the way, while you're talking, do you mind if I have a grape?
Go right ahead.
Go ahead. Okay.
It can help clear your palate.
It can help clear. Yeah, well, so can Starbucks, if that's not heretical.
Not as good, though.
Not as good, though. So one of the stops, let's mention in Aldie, a friend of yours named, was it Wally?
Wally at the Aldie Peddler. And not only does he have hundreds of wines that you can select, and he always has various bottles that he allows you to taste, but he also has canned goods. I love the cherry preserves that he provides there. It's got his name on it, the Aldie Peddler. Stop in and see Wally. It is well worth your time. He will entertain you.
I was going to say, if he were here, and we may actually have him as a guest on a subsequent visit, if he were here, I think he would agree that he's a character.
He is a character.
Yes. And so as the proprietor of the store, he's got a zillion different wines.
There you go with those zeros again.
Okay, a lot of different wines.
And I seem to be losing
it's like a
them.
nonstop tasting that he has, and you can just drive it off the road and enjoy a tasting and enjoy a
Conversation.
With
And
a guy.
joke or two.
And a joke or two. I mean, he is a genuine character. So that's stop number one. We did not go to the Salamander Resort, but in Middleburg there is a resort that is both a retreat for people who are simply looking for some peace and a getaway in their lives, but also it is a vineyard and a winery, and also for people into horses. And in Loudoun County, horses are another big deal. It was enough for me in the past week to fail at wine testing. There's no way I was going to fail on a horse, okay? Okay.
But I went on a horseback ride.
But not lately.
Well, it's a couple years ago.
Well, okay, hats off to you for that. So this is the old and the restless, and she's the restless and I'm old. I ain't getting on a horse, but wine tasting was okay. And at Boxwood, they actually have a certified, credentialed sommelier.
They have
on staff.
several.
They have several, in fact. And one of the things we were researching, maybe since I'm the resident nerd, I was
You're
researching.
the resident research nerd.
Okay.
You are.
And I did not know that there are 4 different levels of credentialing that a sommelier goes through in order to get their credential and show their expertise as to wine. And it's good to know, although you kind of sort of expect it, but it's good to know at a vineyard and winery that there would be multiple people on staff with that degree of expertise. But one of the things that they need to do in the credentialing to become a master sommelier is a blind taste test. And even though I miserably failed the first taste testing that I did with the 4 samples that we described in a little bit, because I have progressed so much in the week, we think.
We think.
We're
going to try.
That's right. So we brought along the blindfold, and at some point in a few minutes when we're done with the statistics that you all should know, she will put on a blindfold on me to see whether or not I can discern the difference amongst these 3 varietals: wine A, wine B, and blindfolded a cup of Starbucks. We'll see what my unsophisticated palate will be able to discern. But you have some data for us, and while you regale us with the data, I'm
no,
gonna
I was going to just talk a little bit about how farming has sort of changed in my life. I grew up on a farm down near Harrisonburg, near a territory called Cross Keys. And there was a battle of Cross Keys. And now there is a winery in Cross Keys as well, a family-owned winery.
keep talking, I'm munching.
Okay. And it's been there since, I believe, 2006, 2008. But it's also a wonderful place to visit, and I would highly recommend the trip down to Cross Keys. But going back to farming, when I was a kid, farming was all about the cornfields, the wheat and the barley fields, and the raising of cattle, sheep, chickens, that type of farming. Up here, farming seems to be vineyards and horses, and very sophisticated equipment, I might add. However, at Boxwood, they still handpick the grapes.
Yeah, and they were actually doing that.
They were in the
While we were
process.
there.
This is harvest season. So farming has totally given me a new education by living in Loudoun County.
So expressing my ignorance, I did ask whether it was possible after they picked the grapes, because from what I kind of knew from movies and cartoons, at some point the grapes have to be squished.
They do.
And so I was asking whether it's possible if I were to take off my shoes and socks and actually stomp on these grapes. But
That would be a picture.
but it's not a thing. In Loudoun County, that's not a thing. It may still be somewhere, but, and I think some of this is the Loudoun County demographic, because Loudoun County is, if not the wealthiest, still one of the wealthiest counties in America. So it does take a certain amount of income to support all these different wineries. So on your cheat sheet here, over 50 wineries.
Yes, I went through that already.
Okay, see, I wasn't paying attention.
I was in the beginning.
And, okay, so did you talk about the 3,600 bottles and the 25 cases?
I did not yet.
Okay,
You want to go into that?
no.
Well,
This is your cheat sheet. You go.
okay.
I want another grape.
Well, Loudoun County decided to have a commemorative wine because of the 40 years that the wineries have been around Loudoun County. So there were 12 wineries that participated. They each contributed 25 cases of their best wine. And then it was all blended together and created a Loudoun County commemorative bottle of wine. I haven't found one yet. I'm still looking for it. I understand the cost is around $38, probably, depending upon where you get it. But I'm looking for it. And it has the special Loudoun County label on it. Okay.
So why Loudoun? And evidently, Loudoun County, because of its rainfall and humidity and soils, is particularly well suited to growing grapes and thence having wineries from there. But the other interesting thing, so when we were talking about data centers are ugly. I mean, they contribute to our local economy, but they are hardly what you would call things of beauty. What's wonderful as you go out Route 50, and also Stone Tower is off of 15, is that right?
Yes,
Off
that
of Route
is
15.
correct.
That the countryside,
Hogback Road, I think.
I think you're right. The countryside is amazingly beautiful. And the plots of land that the wineries have are usually on the higher promontory, so to speak, and then the actual buildings where you can sample the wine and have meals look out over the valleys and the Blue Ridge Mountains beyond.
And just beautiful vistas, that's for sure.
Beautiful vistas.
One thing unique that Boxwood has that none of the other wineries have is a cave. And it's cold in there. It's so cold they keep blankets on hand to wrap around you should you need it.
So tell them what happens in the cave.
Well, the cave is where they store the barrels of wine. However, in each section of Boxwood, of the building itself, they have the cave where the barrels are stored, but they also have nice dining tables set up with tablecloths and appropriately a portion for having dinner, and you can actually sit in this cold cave and wear your coat, or they will give you blankets to wrap, and you can be served inside there. Then they have the vat, the room with the large vats. They also have tables set up there, and then they have the bottling room. They only bottle twice a year, fall and the spring, and only for a few weeks. So during the time that they're not bottling, they have tables and a bar set up in there where you can also sit there, and their food is actually very good.
So before we tell them about the outdoor pavilion, it has occurred to me, I don't think we've told these people our names yet.
Oh.
Okay, so even though this is episode 3 of The Old and the Restless.
Sometimes we forget things.
Yes, because when you're old, those of you who are younger, when you get old, trust me, we will forget things. So in any case, my name is Andy Norton, and you are?
I'm Phyllis Wetzel.
And we are both realtors with, as you can see, Sampson Properties. And however, with respect to the alcoholic content that you see here, Sampson Properties would completely disclaim any attribution to this, okay? There could be young minds watching this with no exposure to alcohol.
And that was one thing I was going to emphasize is please do not go out wine tasting and driving under the influence. There are limousine services that offer winery hopping. You know, you've heard of bar hopping?
Yes.
We did some winery hopping, and so you can, he drank, I didn't, so I drove. But there are limousine services that do take you around. Also, a lot of the wineries have a jar, and this is appropriate when you're doing wine tasting. If you don't want to consume that much wine, because at a wine tasting, there may be 6, 7, 8 tastings, which can be a lot. And if you go around to several wineries, that can pretty much add up. So you are allowed to take in a sip of the wine, swish it around in your mouth to see how the tannins feel, and you can spit it out. And then you can take a sip of water and be ready for the next wine. But please do not do a lot of tasting and be out there driving around.
Right. So there are fall festivals coming up in Loudoun County and elsewhere in Virginia just in the next few weeks. where it would be a lot of fun to go out and partake in the Fall Festival and also do wine tastings. And if you need a map or a list of the festivals, then by all means, you can reach us at 703-627-1999, and we will be happy to give you information about fall festivals and recommend other wineries and all that other kind of cool stuff. But of course, a shameless plug, we are realtors.
We are realtors.
We are realtors.
And
So-
we do like entertainment. A lot of these wineries have live music, concerts,
Yeah.
and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, but also when we're showing homes, it can also be a lot of fun. So, a shameless plug, for real estate, you can also reach us at 703-627-1999. We had to get in the commercial.
Are you ready to do a tasting?
Okay, so I am ready to do a tasting. Here goes. And so what we have here
No.
are two different kinds of red wine. And I have been skeptical about sommelier training. And do you really need to be able to, in a blindfold, discern which kind of wine? So I'm going to fast forward and pretend that I've gone through level one and 2 training of sommelier.
Okay.
And we're going to pretend I'm at level 3. Just pretend. And we can see.
One other point, you'll see that I have wine here in a display where it's on its side. And the reason being that you should always store wine on the side is to keep the cork moist. You don't want the cork to dry out.
Ah, okay.
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 Let's
Are
see
you
what-
going
let's
to do
see
the
what you
honors?
Do I need to put this on?
No, I'm on me. So hang
Yeah.
on. Okay.
That's what I was talking
Here goes,
about.
folks.
You know how
Is this centered?
what Andy doesn't know.
Okay. So, shall we start with my right hand?
Okay, just one moment. Just a minute. I have to get ready here. I have to do this properly.
Okay.
You always start, usually in wine tastings, they start with the lightest wine first and build up to the heaviest wine. So we're going to do the same thing here.
Okay. So, by the way, will we be able to retitle this video 50 Shades of Wine?
Maybe.
Maybe.
All right, taste this one, Andy.
Hold on.
And tell me what you think.
Okay. Let go.
Okay.
Okay, here goes.
Give me a drum roll, please. What does that taste like?
Diet Coke? No.
Not even close.
Okay, this is not Diet Coke.
I played a trick on him. He doesn't know it yet.
Dr. Pepper?
No.
Can I have multiple choice here? I know it's a red.
No. Are you sure? What makes you think it's red? Is it dry? You learned about dry versus, Andy
Okay.
said bitter. I said, no, we don't use that word. We use dry.
Okay, so this, to me, this is a sweet red wine. That will be my guess.
Okay, so it's sweet. All right, we got that.
Okay.
Try this one.
Okay. Is that dry? To
Yeah.
me, that tastes dry.
Okay.
A little bit bitter, but in a wine, evidently, we're not supposed to say bitter. We're supposed to say dry.
Dry.
Okay, so is the other one what you'd call all wet? Or no, I'm all wet.
All right, you want to take your blindfold off?
Okay, here goes.
So that was number 1, and this was number 2. I told you
Okay. I have a newfound respect for sommelier training. Okay. If any of you are sommeliers out there, I apologize. I truly do.
But you were correct in that this is a sweeter wine.
Oh, okay.
And this is a drier wine. That
Okay.
is correct.
Okay. So this is this is as much art as science, okay? Art as science. So
But the point is,
the point.
Western Loudoun, with all of the vineyards and the horse country that we have, it does affect our properties
For
and
sure.
real estate, and it brings in, how many employees did you say the wine industry brings in?
A little bit less than 50,000 direct and indirect employees in our area.
And they all are looking for a house.
And they're all looking for places to live. And if they're over the age of 55, they could go to
Lansdowne Woods.
Yes, indeed. And also millions of wine tourists. That was far more than I expected to read as I researched this as your resident nerd.
Resident nerd. He
Okay.
researches everything.
Who researches everything.
Me, I just go out and I taste what I like, I buy what I like. I don't worry about the research.
Yeah.
But that's okay. I like the research too.
Yeah, there you go. And some of these wineries have wine clubs so that if you know that you're coming back and you're having a good time, how does the Boxwood Wine Club work? And maybe if you could contrast that with the Cooper's Hawk Wine Club.
Well, the Boxwood Wine Club, I'm only required to buy so many bottles of wine every 6 months because they bottle every 6 months. But along with the wine club, then I get free tastings anytime I go. I could go every day and get a free tasting because I'm a wine club member. And then the wine I pick up twice a year. With Cooper's Hawk, there's various levels of membership. With Cooper's Hawk, I'm the highest. I'm a 3 bottle a month club member, and I'm allowed 2 tastings per month, and then I get a 20% discount. And once you go and dine there, and you spend, let's say, $300, then I get a $20 credit. So it does have benefits that go along with the wine membership. And what you end up paying per bottle of wine is less than what someone walking in off the street would pay for it. But what I really enjoy about it, I've yet to go to either of these wineries and not meet someone new or continue to meet old friends. It's just a wonderful social experience.
From what I've read, one of the differences between Loudoun County wineries and, let's say, for example, Sonoma Valley wineries in California is that I've read that Sonoma Valley wineries have gotten very large, extremely crowded, and impersonal, quite the opposite of what you're describing. That Loudoun County wineries are sort of like Sonoma would have been decades ago.
Could be.
Yeah. To contrast, however, in terms of your wine expertise and what a novice that I was a week ago, the club that I belong to is the Panera Bread Sip Club, where for only $9 a month you can get unlimited coffee. But clearly my education on consumables is ongoing.
Okay.
Anyway, thank you for the experiment here. I've learned a lot, and hopefully the people in the audience have gotten a few chuckles at my expense.
That's okay.
That's okay. So the next video that we do, because each time we're trying to add something new and exciting to this, we will have our first guest from a remote location. So we're going to have a split screen, and an interesting guest begins, and that will be episode 4 of
The Old and the Restless.
Everyone, thank you for joining us, and we will see you next week.
Thank you, and bye-bye.
Bye-bye.